Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever time you are viewing this vlog. I hope that you are in the best of health. This is day 7, I think. No, I stand corrected. Today is day 8. And today we will be starting with chapter 4. We left off at the end of chapter 3. As I said at the beginning of each vlog, this is not suitable for the younger readers. As I get further and further into the story, you will see exactly what I mean. So if you have any young viewers around you, this is the time for you to let them exit the room, or this is time for you to stop this and watch this at a later time. So, okay, let's get started. Change Chapter 4. I don't remember ever being this happy. College life really agreed with me. No parents. I was on my own. I had new friends. The only complaint I had was living in the dorm. I spent less time with Jerry than I did before college, but he was still around. Classes were a bit difficult and required more studying. I wasn't going to let myself fail. That was not an option. There were so many different sororities and fraternities, and every student there seemed to be all about pledging to one of them. For me, though, I didn't have the time. I was still about school, but I also needed to make my money. As far as Billy, I had to completely cut him off. He was no longer a football player. There wasn't anything he could do for me. He didn't care much. Actually, he was cutting me off. Billy became a sports announcer and was engaged to some actress. I didn't need that drama. My roommate and I was watching television, and Billy and his fiancée were on the news. She thought he was cheating and placed all of the clothes in his car and then set it on fire. I'm not a blackmailer, but I guess he felt he needed to send me some hush money every now and then. I wasn't the type of person, but I wasn't refusing the money either. Really, I just think that he was very scared of his fiancée. If she would set his car on fire just thinking he cheated, imagine what she would have done to him if she knew about our connection. I met this guy named Caleb. He was a freshman, and surprisingly, I was feeling him. Caleb was only a year older than me, so normally I didn't deal with guys around my age. But with him, it was different. After a month of running into him and talking to him on the phone, he asked me out. We were hanging tight. I really was falling for him. You would think that I would call it off with Jerry, but I didn't. Jerry was not only a longtime friend and lover, but he was my bank, too. I figured that Caleb would never find out. I told Jerry about Caleb as we were fucking. I told Jerry about Caleb as we was fucking. Jerry was so over the top, talking the whole time as if my pussy would always belong to him. If I didn't know any better, I would have thought he felt a little threatened. Jerry had nothing to worry about. He gave me the best of two, money and a good fuck. Caleb was tugging at my heart, but the relationship I had with Jerry was going to be forever. In my mind, I felt as long as I kept my mouth shut, Caleb would never find out. Caleb had his own apartment off of campus, and he invited me to come over. I was really nervous about going over to his apartment. I was too advanced sexually for guys my age. He told me that he was going to cook for me. I didn't know how I felt about that, puzzled by the words, "I will cook for you." Was this his way of saying he was broke? The only issue I was having was the money. Did he want to cook for me to be romantic? I was making too much of it. Even if he would have offered to take me out, I probably would have had an issue if it was a cheap place. I'm sorry, I just didn't go just anywhere. I consider myself top shelf, so the men I dealt with needed to consider me top shelf as well. I was shocked, amazed, and impressed when I first went over to Caleb's apartment. His apartment was fat. He wasn't a young he wasn't a young no money student. He came for money. He cooked me a fantastic dinner. I was eating stuff that I never even heard of. I asked him was his parents rich. He said his mother was a stay-at-home mom, but his dad was very well known. But he didn't want to talk about it. He didn't seem to care too much about his father. I found out that Cater was the name he gave himself. He said that he refused to keep the name his parents gave to him. I changed the topic. It was really bothering him talking about his father. After we ate, we went out for ice cream. And when Caleb took his wallet out to pay for the ice cream, all you could see in his wallet was nothing but hundreds. I can't believe I had a boyfriend. Not only a boyfriend, but a young one with money. I wonder how sex was going to be with Caleb. But he hadn't yet tried anything up to that point. I needed to have sex. It was a part of my life. Most of the time, it was for the money, but I did enjoy it. For the most part, Jerry's always con- contacted me. Although there were many times that I texted him first, he was my money. I decided to hit him up. Although I had plenty of money, I wanted more. I was a shopaholic too. There were these strips of these strips of tall hotels right outside of campus. I rented a room and had Jerry meet me at the room. Now, normally I would masturbate right before hooking up with him, but I wanted to blow his mind, keep the sex new. When Jerry arrived at the hotel, I was already laying on the bed. Soon when I heard him open the door, I started playing with myself. He was opened by this. He was an older guy, and I knew he didn't get this at home. So anyway, I crawled to the edge of the bed to meet him and pull him closer. I started undressing him while he was still at the foot of the bed. Then I laid flat on the edge of the bed with my feet towards the top and then my head towards the bottom and started playing with his balls as I grabbed his dick with my mouth, gently sucking it and in and out of my mouth. Then he crawled on, then I crawled on my hands and knees to the top of the bed, signaling with my index finger for him to come closer. As he moved closer, I told him to lie on his back. This way I would have all the control. I got on top of him, and as he began to enter me, I was leaning my back towards his legs so I could slide his dick in and out of my pussy. I was so excited that the wetness was pouring down his dick as I was doing that. That was me being gentle. I kept doing that for a while until I could tell that he was getting a little too excited. Then it happened like never before. I went from sliding to pounding so forcefully. Instead of letting him play with my spot with his fingers, his penis was pounding my clitoris. When you think about real good sex, it's nothing like having your clitoris hit. It was amazing. He had never felt me release the way I released on him. I came so hard. When he exited me, you could hear the flushing noise. That was exactly what I had. That's exactly why I had control over his credit card. I didn't know how he was able to do that, the things he did with me without being caught. But that was his business, not mine. As long as I got mine, I really don't care. It's awesome how I was able to do what I did with Jerry, and then then color right next to Kato. I really like Kato. Although he's my first boyfriend, I felt like it was going to be a long relationship. I had a good thing going on with Jerry, so not having sex and taking my time with Kato was cool with me. I never brought someone home to meet my parents before, but I like Caleb enough to introduce him to them. We were on vacation, and although I felt like it was going to last between us, I really didn't know how. I really didn't know what he felt. We were at the point in the relationship where he was starting to say, "I love you." From dealing with my dudes, I know that those words really didn't mean anything, although I was falling for him. Cater didn't go to his home for our vacation. He actually came home with me. He rented a room nearby. My parents were strict. Although they were happy to meet him, they weren't going to let him stay in the house, at our house. It didn't matter anyway because Cater wasn't the type of guy he wasn't that type of guy. I barely saw my parents. I mostly stayed at the room with Cater. I introduced him to the girls, and they seemed to hit it off very well. I loved Cater because I could smoke my weed and drink around him even though he didn't smoke. Cater could drink though. I mean, really. I never met anyone who could outdrink me, but he really could. We all hung at the hotel and got extremely fucked up. I already knew it was going to be a fuck night for us. After the girls left, Caleb was sucking on my neck, then my ear. Okay, guys, I'm gonna stop right there, and tomorrow I will finish the rest of chapter 4. So if you have any questions, please leave it in the comment section below. And as usual, you can email me at jdseries2013 at gmail.com. Again, that's jdseries2013 at gmail.com. Thank you. Y'all have a great evening, and I will talk to you very soon. So, love you, my lovely readers.